Hi, this is Sapna Bhartia, and today once again we are back with our Open for Business segment with Blair Lyon from Linode. Blair, in the last three episodes, we talked about getting started, getting funding, building the team. Now let's talk about the critical piece of any business, which is the product itself, right? So everyone always talks about how important product market fit is to the success of any tech startup. I think it's actually critical for any startup, not just specific to tech or open source. So I want to understand from you, first of all, what is it and why is it so important?
Well, Swap, if you remember in our previous episode, we talked about those three keys to any successful startup. Number one, team. Number two, your strategy. And number three, product market fit. Now you need all three legs of this stool. But team and strategy, and even like your product, you can change those. You can swap out team members, you can shift strategies and pivot products or build new ones. But the marketplace you are trying to sell into can't be changed and therefore really needs careful study. The product market fit concept was developed and named by Andy Rachleff, CEO of Wealthfront and co-founder of Benchmark Capital, which has had a number of major wins, including a $12 million investment they made in Uber that is now worth over $7 billion. But Andy talks about product market fit as this value hypothesis in an attempt to identify that key assumption which will drive customer adoption of your product. So in layman's terms, what are you going to build? Who is desperate for it? And what is the business model you are going to use to deliver it? Now, Andy and other smart entrepreneurs emphasize that it really doesn't matter how smart your team is or how brilliant your strategy is. If you can't find a market that wants your product, you won't win. So find a great market. Second, find product market fit within that market.
Okay, so from what I understand is that product market fit is really, really important. But how do I create a product that has product market fit? Can you explain that part?
Sure, Swap. So the simple answer is start with your hypothesis, test it, and then prove it with real customers. One process approach you can use is like a 5-step lean product process. Some call it the product market fit pyramid. So imagine your pyramid starting at the bottom is your target customer, right? And then the next level is your customer's underserved needs, really. And then the next level would be your value proposition, and then your feature set, and then finally your customer experience you want to deliver. So by iterating through each of these layers sequentially, you validate and refine your core hypothesis and increase your confidence level that your idea has a strong foundation for success. So while following a lean startup approach like this is smart, I also coach entrepreneurs to leverage design thinking principles early on in order to really understand the human or the user that will be interacting with your product. Many of the greatest product innovations have come from uncovering those hidden behavioral insights between people, process, and technology. A good way to think about it is to use design thinking techniques early on that really nail the human research and validate the assumptions, then apply the lean product processes for rapid implementation and market testing.
Right. Now, can you give some examples of companies that got product market fit right?
Well, my favorite, of course, is Slack. Use it every day. Is a great example because in the beginning, they got their product market fit all wrong. Slack was created initially as a communications tool, really just as a support application for a role-playing game the founders were working on. And what they found was that they didn't have good product market fit for their game, but they did discover that there was a market for workplace collaboration, and their communication tool solved an unmet need in that arena. Today, Slack has achieved incredible product market fit with over 12 million users and a valuation of $7 billion. Another good one, probably the classic example really is like Netflix. So early on, they tapped into that market desire to avoid driving to the brick and mortar store to go get your video rental, like going to the Blockbuster. And then they executed it really well by having a smart DVD by mail operation. And then Netflix, they had really strong success early on, but they saw the market changing and they were smart enough and were able to adapt fast enough to the fact that their product market fit options were really in the streaming video market. And so they adapted to that. And as we have seen, they were, really successful with, like $125 billion valuation today.
You mentioned Slack that they got their market fit wrong in the beginning. So how how do you know that you have a product market fit? Are there any pointers, indicators?
Well, and you don't have it when customers don't get it. They aren't telling their friends. The sales cycle takes forever. And general usage is lagging. Now, alternatively, when you have it, when all the good things happen. Usage is growing, customers are buying, you're getting inquiries from the press. Now, most likely, you are probably between those two extremes, and you'll need to apply some metrics to gauge where you are. So here are a few things that you can measure. So how quickly do customers make up their minds about a purchase? So what is your sales cycle? Are reviewers mentioning your product or family, friends, or social media connections? So word of mouth. What is your customer retention rate or churn rate? Are customers interacting with your marketing efforts? Are you getting good engagement? How many customers have unsubscribed from your communications? Or are you seeing trends from data you collected from focus groups or field research? All of these will help you know if you have product market fit and whether it's improving or failing. If the latter, this could be your wake-up call that your product needs significant refinement, or maybe it's the right product in the wrong market, or you need to go back to the drawing board and start over. In the end, you can't change a market, like I said before. So you have to find a large market with an unmet need and then build a product that satisfies that need. Do this and you will achieve, product market fit nirvana. Then you can worry about the other two big challenges, which of course is building your team and the business strategy to scale it.
Now I can actually visualize a lot of brands who got it right and a lot of brands who got it wrong. At the same time, I've also seen, as you mentioned, a Slack example, and there are so many examples where you can clearly see that they got it wrong in the beginning, but then they iterated and fixed it. So Blair, once again, thanks for sharing, these valuable insights into how to find, whether your product is market fit or not. And I look forward to talk to the next segment. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Swat.